Hello, everybody. Welcome to another CDI webinar. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Andrew Albers. I'm an account executive here, and I'm going to be your host today. Today's webinar is titled The Growth of Digital Signatures and Records Management Challenges. All right, we just got a couple items of note here before we get going today. Everybody is on mute. But please put your questions into the question box in the GoToWebinar control panel. I'll make sure to review those towards the end. I have a little time slot set up for answering any questions, so please put those there. If I don't get to your questions, I'll definitely follow up with you on a one-on-one basis. Slides and screenshots can be provided upon request, so feel free to reach out to us. We can get you a copy of the webinar and any screenshots you need. And then, as always, this session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our awesome YouTube library. So that's where you can find all of our webinars we've ever done. It's all on our YouTube channel for your review. All right, let's talk about the agenda today. So today, basically, I'm going to show or do a showcase of an electronic contracts process leveraging Laserfiche's capabilities. So this is going to be an end-to-end digitized contracts process. So we're going to start off with the electronic contract request submission, leveraging Laserfiche forms. That's going to allow us to do the submission of the contract. Then we're going to look at our Word and Laserfiche integration, and what that does is actually populate a contract template document. So all of the metadata captured in the Laserfiche form is going to populate our contract template document. Then we're going to look at the approval and review process. So this is going to be done through Laserfiche workflow. We're going to use the Laserfiche workflow engine with email notifications, notifying all of our approvers and review folks in the process. Finally, we're going to look at the digital signing process. So this is going to be through DocuSign, fully automated. Laserfiche workflow is going to send the document to DocuSign for electronic signatures. Once everything is signed electronically through DocuSign, I'm going to show you the real strength of this solution, where everything is then filed back into Laserfiche in the correct folders. New folders are created if needed. All of the naming and metadata is applied correctly based upon our naming and filing conventions. And everything is stored in our Laserfiche repository. And even better, since we do have records management capability in Laserfiche, we are able to apply the retention properties to any record that comes into the Laserfiche system. So again, this is going to be a contract. We're going to apply the retention schedule to it. And then we're going to show you how that retention period is managed. So why should you care about any of this? Well, what we found speaking with not only clients, but a lot of prospective clients out there, it's, whether you're a government agency or a corporation, everybody has documents and records. Even though these days we've all moved more towards electronic documents and records, a lot of times these records are still stored in various locations in our organization. So this can be private folders on a user's workstation. Everybody has those randomly named PDF and Word documents in a folder on their local machine. Users also leverage the network drive, which, some of them think that's a great location to store documents and records, but it's really not, because some difficulties or challenges with that is no proper naming conventions are followed. People are just storing things willy-nilly, naming everything willy-nilly, not following any naming conventions, and then not applying any metadata to any of those documents or records. So then we have challenges of finding those documents and records. If anybody here has tried to search a network drive, you know how challenging that can be. And then obviously there are no retention properties assigned to documents or records residing on a local folder or on the network drive. So that's the real benefit of leveraging Laserfiche. Laserfiche should become your organization's centralized document records management system. And then you can enhance that with the electronics processes, the automations, the digital signatures, and better yet, do records retention in Laserfiche, allowing the system to store records, apply the records retention properties automatically, and then notifying you when the retention periods are reached and documents and records are ready for disposition. So that's kind of a high level of what we're talking about here today. Again, everybody has those challenges with records, even though, again, they may already be signed electronically now. If they're stored outside of a document records management system, there's still those challenges with what I just mentioned, with that naming, with the filing, with the retention periods. So that's what we're showing today. We're going to give you a demo of that really awesome contracts process. Then we're going to look at some CDI and Laserfiche resources, and then take any of your questions. So before I get into the demo, just wanted to touch on a couple facts here specific to digital signatures that some of you may or may not know. So digital signatures have the same validity before the law as a wet signature. So almost 24 years ago now there was the e-sign law, which basically states that a contract or signature may not be denied legal effect, validity, or enforceability solely because it is in electronic form. So again, digital signatures are fully valid. There's some real strengths of leveraging digital signatures, or some benefits, is that these digital certificates from a third party come from a third party like DocuSign, and they are encrypted. So the digital certificate includes important metadata related to a digital signature. It records the signature along with the information about the signer's identity. It even tracks the IP address of the signers and the time that the signature was applied. If the document is changed in any way, the digital certificate will also record the change. And in our demo here, we're going to be leveraging DocuSign. And what we're also storing in Laserfiche with the record itself is the certificate of authenticity from DocuSign. So that certificate gets stored in Laserfiche as well. DocuSign did a little study on digital signatures, and they found that 82% of DocuSign agreements are completed in 1 day, which is pretty amazing. So there are definitely some time and cost savings with implementing a digital signature solution. Some of the other facts, they found that $36 on average is saved per document compared to a paper process for signatures. And then a 9 days average faster turnaround time versus paper signing process. So not only are there security benefits, there are also cost and time benefits for you all as well. And records management, what is it and why should you care? So Laserfiche, some of you may not know this if you don't have Laserfiche already, or if you do, Laserfiche offers an optional records management module. That module is amazing. It allows you to apply your retention schedules to records in Laserfiche, and then you can automate the application of that retention schedule. So as a record is either scanned by a user or dragged and dropped into Laserfiche, or it comes through a DocuSign process or other e-forms or a workflow process, as long as it gets into Laserfiche one way or another, the system, once it's programmed to do this, it will recognize the record type, for example, a contract, and then it knows to apply the 7-year retention schedule to it. So we'll apply the retention schedule to that record automatically. And then the workflow starts monitoring that retention period. And at 7 years, it can notify you and letting you know what all records are ready for disposition. So this is the real benefit of the Laserfiche solution, is the application of those retention properties and then the notification. So let's just go over some high-level records management benefits. And all of these points on screen here are met by the Laserfiche solution. So obviously, you reduce lost and misfiled documents, you ensure record-keeping practices fulfill legislative and regulatory compliance requirements, you ensure records are available for an appropriate amount of time before being destroyed or accessioned, ensure records are made read-only as appropriate. So in Laserfiche, that's called a cutoff, and Laserfiche can cut off records through the workflow. So it can also be part of that automated process. So like I said before, let's pretend a user scans in a record. So it gets scanned into Laserfiche, the retention schedule gets automatically applied, and then also Laserfiche workflow can automatically cut off that record, so making it read-only, and this can be either a time-based or an event-based event that lets the system know when to cut off that record. So that's another powerful feature of the records management module in Laserfiche. Obviously, we can quickly locate records that need attention, ensure records are available if requested by judicial orders. And the big one here, which I have already mentioned a few different times, prevent inadvertent or unauthorized destruction of records and ensure outdated or unwanted records are destroyed at appropriate intervals. So this is the big one. Like I said, you definitely need to keep records as long as you need to, but you don't want to keep records longer than you have to. And with that Laserfiche automation, letting you know when those retention periods are reached, that can really take the stress off you, just knowing the fact that you are following those retention schedules accurately. So that's a little bit on records management here. Let's touch on, so what's required to deploy some of these things we're going to be showing today. So to deploy the Laserfiche records management module, this is an optional add-on to systems, to the perpetually licensed system. So those are your legacy systems, your Avante and Rio systems. There it's an optional add-on. For our subscription, Laserfiche subscription and cloud clients, the module is included in the business tier, and it's available as an add-on for the professional tier. You also do need the Laserfiche Advanced Audit Trail. The audit trail monitors all of the actions taken within the records management module, whether it's ad hoc by an end user or through the Laserfiche workflow doing things for us automatically. Everything is tracked in the audit trail, and all of those actions are then reportable upon through the audit trail module. So audit trail, that's an add-on onto your legacy and Avante systems. It is included on the Rio systems. And for our subscription and cloud clients, it is included in the business tier and available as an add-on for the professional tier. Finally, you will also need Laserfiche workflow to handle the automation. So that's the application of the retention schedule, the auto cutoffs if needed, and then the disposition notification. That's all done through the Laserfiche workflow engine. And workflow is an add-on to legacy platforms. It is included on Avante and Rio systems. And for subscription and cloud clients, it is included in the professional and business tiers. So I know this may be a little bit confusing, but feel free to reach out to us, reach out to your account manager if you have questions, if you already may have the module, or how to add it to your current licensing. Again, it's a really powerful module, as we're going to show here today. So that's the records management piece. Additional licensing required. This is going to be more in terms of what's required for the automation after the record is submitted and the contract is approved and gets filed into Laserfiche. So again, we're going to need Laserfiche workflow to do that filing for us, do that auto naming for us. We're also going to need Laserfiche Forms Professional. In this case, I'm showing an end-to-end digital contract request process. So I'm going to be using Laserfiche Forms on the front end to handle the contract request submission. So we're going to need Laserfiche Forms Professional. There's also an essential version, but professional version allows you to do lookups, not only into Laserfiche, into the repository from Laserfiche forms, but from Laserfiche forms into other systems and databases based on some unique identifiers. We can pull in metadata from other systems. So Laserfiche Forms Professional, that's an add-on to legacy platforms, Avante and Rio systems. It is included for subscription and cloud clients under the professional and business tiers. And finally, our amazing Laserfiche and DocuSign integration. So this is an integration that CDI has built. It's available as an add-on for any Laserfiche self-hosted platforms. We are also working on having this available with Laserfiche Cloud at some point. And this integration can function ad hoc. So you, for example, can be in the Laserfiche repository, simply right-click a document, send it directly to DocuSign for signatures, and then have that signed document come back into your Laserfiche repository, get renamed properly, re-indexed properly, refiled into a different folder if needed, so they can be used ad hoc like that. Or better yet, it can be incorporated into a workflow process, which is what I'm going to be showing here, into a contract request and approval process. So it can function both ways, ad hoc and automatic, built into the Laserfiche workflow. So that's our DocuSign integration we're going to be showing today. So that covers all of our licensing and the general overview of what we're showing today. Just want to see if there are any questions already. Looks like I have no questions, so let's keep on moving here. So let's get right into our demonstration here. And what we're going to be doing here is showing you an end-to-end digitized and automated contracts process. So a few things are going to happen. We're going to use Laserfiche forms for the front-end contract request submission. That's going to compile our contract request. So we're going to pretend we are somebody in a department in an organization and we want to buy something and that requires the contract. So we're going to submit our contract request through Laserfiche forms. It's going to get routed internally for the necessary review and approval steps. It can also get routed, obviously, to our vendor because they need to review the agreement as well and make any edits if needed. So we can do that. Then it's going to get sent to DocuSign for electronic signatures. Once that's all completed, it gets all filed automatically back into our Laserfiche workflow, or into our Laserfiche repository using the Laserfiche workflow engine. It's going to get named correctly, put in the correct folders automatically, and the retention properties are going to get applied automatically for us as well. So enough talking of what we're showing. Let's actually show you what we're doing here. And then on screen, this is a Laserfiche forms landing page. This is our internal landing page here. This is something, if you are using Laserfiche forms, something you may want to consider building for your various internal forms you may be interested in deploying, for example. And this is out of the scope of today's demo, but you may have HR forms you are interested in deploying internally. So again, this is built on Laserfiche forms. It's dynamic. When I select human resources, it's going to give me a list of all of our internal HR processes that we can leverage internally here as well. Today we're doing contracts. So when I select contracts, this is where we kick off our contracts process. So this is an internal form. However, Laserfiche forms has the capability to be also deployed externally for public forms submissions as well. So if you are a government agency, you may want to consider using forms for other use cases, you know, for permits or public records requests, other types of public type forms requests. But we're doing an internal request for contracts. So I'm going to open this Laserfiche form up directly from our little start page there. And again, this is built upon Laserfiche forms. And this is what's allowing us to start collecting data that we need to then push into our Word template document. So Laserfiche forms has intelligence built in. Since I am logged in as a Laserfiche user, it obviously knows who I am, knows my email address, can also look at my department, can also look up my title. Here's where we would put our company information. This can also obviously be a lookup. I'll just make this out for CDI and fill this out with some random information. Just of note, anything with a red asterisk is a required field. And this form is just a sample form. This is not the way you need to do your contract request. You can customize this form to capture really any field that you would require. This is just an example of one that we've built out. Here's where we can put our contract title. So let's just say, I don't know, we want to buy a new pickup truck. Why not? We can have drop-down fields based on any metadata that we want to have there. So we can select from a drop-down list. Contract budget here, this is a field that can have intelligence built into it. Perhaps if it's over a specific amount, it may need to go to a CFO or a CEO type level of an approval, so that logic can be built into our form. And here is where we're doing a lookup for our vendors. So if this is a vendor we already have a relationship with, well, they should have a folder in Laserfiche already. And as I mentioned with that Forms Professional, we can do lookups into Laserfiche. So this is all of our vendors already in Laserfiche. So if we want to do business with any current vendor, we can just select that vendor here, but we can obviously also onboard a new vendor. So I'm going to onboard a new vendor here for us. What this is going to do, it's going to create a new folder structure in Laserfiche for our new vendor here, which is pretty great. So Andrews, I don't know, budget trucks. Make sure our red asterisk fields are filled out. Here's an interesting field. Nothing particular as far as what we're doing here, but we're just showing that we can do lookups into other systems and databases. So as I change a value here, it does a lookup into another database based on this unique code here, essentially. So this is just showing you all can have the capability to look into other systems, whether it's another accounting application, maybe, if you're doing an HR form, it could look into your HR system. Whatever other system we can connect to, we can pull in information and just make it easier for people to fill out these forms so they don't have to fill everything in manually. We can do some of these lookups. Here we can set our expiration date for this contract. So this is the important records stuff. The records retention properties will be applied. Alternatively, too, the system can monitor expiration dates for contracts and then letting us know maybe 30 days before a contract is set to expire to allow us to review that contract and make sure we don't miss expiration dates, or we reach out to our vendor prior to that expiration date and work with that vendor. I've also seen this used for insurance tracking, which is a big thing in local government. You want to track insurances, so this is something you can use for that as well. So since we are populating a Word document behind the scenes, we can also let Laserfiche Forms know what else we may want to include. So for example, here I have something for insurance for contracts. So I can up insurance requirements for specific contracts here. We could have other fields here that we may want to add into our contract, anything else you may want to add. So in this case, we're just doing insurance requirements, and then maybe here we'll want to also add our NDA. We can add an attachment. So this is useful if, for example, you may have like a quote or a purchase, or not a purchase, a quote or a proposal that you want to travel along with this request. You can go ahead and attach that here. So once everything looks good, we can go ahead and hit submit. And this is kind of where the magic starts happening behind the scenes with Laserfiche. And with that Word integration, that contract template document starts to get pre-populated for us and is sent to our first person in the queue for the review and approval step. So our first person in the process will get an email notification. So I'll show that here in a second. That person in that first step of the process also does have this little nice forms inbox. So I'm kind of cheating here, but I'm showing you already what it looks like in their inbox outside of going into an email, but they get this nice little inbox of what they need to approve, but they do also get that email notification, so they can open this from within their email. If they have the Laserfiche mobile app, they can even be completely mobile. So once they click an email link in, on their phone, it could open up the Laserfiche mobile app, and they can even do all of these steps while being completely remote. Requests from their email. And let me just close out my other screen here. Make sure we're logged in here. And this will allow them to review this request. So review this submission here. And there are a couple of items I wanted to point out on this screen when it loads up for me. We have our action history on the right. So here we can exactly see how long processes are taking and what steps in that process may be, for example, a bottleneck. So we can see when this original submission happened, we have the date, time, and here we have where it currently is. So it's with Andrew for that legal draft review, right? So we could see maybe Andrew's taking too long to approve. So as a manager or a director, you can get a high level look into forms, processes, and see action history for everything that's running in Laserfiche. And you can even run reports on this and have metrics to show of how long things are taking to get reviewed and approved. So the first person in this queue can go ahead and review this form submission. You'll notice that our Laserfiche system can auto-assign a contract number for us. We can view that contract folder. So since we are onboarding a new vendor in Laserfiche, the system in Laserfiche, so this is our Laserfiche repository, it has pre-created a new folder for a new vendor, and it's already started putting some documentation here. So the contract Word doc is already here, and that original form submission is already here. Also here, if I go to view contract document, this is going to leverage the Word integration and allow me to open the actual Word document so I can make any edits to our contract document before it gets sent to the next step in the approval process. And I'll just see if there are any questions at this point. No, we don't have any questions. Okay. This here can take a couple of minutes here, so this is why I'm stalling here a little bit. Let me go back and see maybe what else I can talk about here. The contract number got applied, and then after we review it, we do have the actions here to send this into the next review process. You can either cancel it in this case, deny it, and then, or say draft updated and just send it into the next process and the next step of the process itself. So let me go back to the Word document here. So there's our Word document. You'll notice everything in red is metadata that was captured on that Laserfiche form, and that gets pushed into this Word document. We have in Laserfiche, we have version control. So if I change anything here, these changes are going to be changed. So if I delete here and just put like demo here or whatever, I can go ahead now and just close out of this, and the system is going to recognize that there is a new version. So we'll just go ahead and save that. So we have version control in Laserfiche since we are dealing with a Word document here as it's going through those various internal review and approval steps. Let me just go back. Oops, don't need that. Where's my screen? There it is. So draft updated. We'll send it into the next step in the process. So our next person also gets an email notification. Go to my email client here. So there's that link for our next reviewer. So this could be like maybe our external review step. And that person also opens up Laserfiche forms. You'll notice that the Laserfiche action history is now updated. We are in the next step. So for the sake of time, I don't need to show you the contract folder here. I already showed you that. That's where Laserfiche has pre-created it. Put the contract document in there. We can also view it from here. In Laserfiche, that version control, let me show you that. So if we go under procurement here, contracts in process, Andrew's budget trucks, under details here. So we have that version control turned on. So if I select that contract request document, we can go ahead and view the version history here. So I can maybe select our first two versions, and I can say compare versions and compare the actual changes within that document. Something was changed on page 5, as you recall here. So let's not update this, but open this up. And this is just going to leverage the Word track changes feature in Word, which I'm sure you all are familiar with. But basically, I just wanted to show that capability with tracking those changes in Laserfiche and in Word. And then in Laserfiche, we do have that history here as well. So let's wait for Word to come to life here again for us. This can take up to a minute here. In the meantime, let's see if there are any questions here. There's one question that's really hard to read. The Windows is super small here. So there's a question: is any of this possible if you don't start with Laserfiche forms, or is that the only way to initiate this workflow process? No, it is not. We're using Laserfiche forms here just to make the contract template population easier, but you could just as easily start this process with already a filled out contract document and just have the Laserfiche workflow engine route that document internally for your internal review steps. I think that's what you're asking there. So it can be leveraged outside of Laserfiche forms, but the full-on end-to-end solution in this demo is using Laserfiche forms. So Word opened here, and like I said before, we do have that track changes or version history turned on. So here we can exactly see what's been changed. So you have that here. There we go. So that's our versioning on a contracts process. Let's go back to the approval step here. Let's just say contract approved, and this will now send it. There's one more step here in this workflow. We're just showing it can go to multiple locations. So in this case, it goes to a departmental manager. You'll notice that our action history has been updated here. Now it's in the departmental manager review step. Our departmental manager also got an email notification. There you go. So they can go ahead and open it in Laserfiche forms. And I'll just make it easy. We'll say manager approved. So now this is where DocuSign integration takes over behind the scenes. This will send out a request for electronic signatures from both our vendor and our internal signer. So there will be 2 emails sent out to those users. They can then sign electronically. But before I do that, this is the landing page for forms. So as I'm logged in as Andrew here, as a forms user, I get this nice little inbox with all of my open tasks here. So I can see everything that's still open. So if I was part of maybe some HR forms or accounts payable or whatever, those would all be here, and I could just review them from here directly. Also, all of my completed tasks are here. So I have a history of everything I've completed here as well. If I was part of a team that works on tasks, maybe you have a team that does contracts. You could also have team tasks here as well. So I just wanted to point that out here. You do get this nice little forms inbox as well. All right, so let's go to our email here, just closing these random windows here. And let's go into our email client and look at the digital signature component. So as most of you have probably used DocuSign before, we have 2 requests, one internal sign signature, one external from the vendor. So we'll just do them one by one. And this is cool because with our integration that we build, we automatically populate the DocuSign envelope by the workflow. So the system knows exactly where our signers need to sign, right? So they just click start here, and you've done this before. So this is our internal signature process. We also have the initial here for the insurance. So click adopt and sign. And then it takes you, like I said, we have the workflow pre-populate the envelope. So it knows exactly where they need to sign. So I'll sign there, click finish. So that's our internal signature. Let's do our external one as well. Same process here. Our vendor would get an email, and again, same thing for them. The envelope's been pre-populated, so it knows exactly where the vendor does need to sign as well. Same idea, continue. You click start, and then yeah, here's the vendor signature. There we go. And there we go. So now the DocuSign integration is again working with Laserfiche. Laserfiche, there's a DocuSign listener, and Laserfiche is requesting these documents be sent back into the Laserfiche document repository, right, with the signatures in there. So that's what's happening behind the scenes. These documents are now signed, and they are coming back into Laserfiche, and they are getting put into the correct folder. So if I go into our Laserfiche repository, you'll notice that our contracts in process main folder is here, and then we have our subfolders for our various in-process contracts. So this is where the documentation is going to start arriving. And once the DocuSign documentation arrives in this folder, this whole subfolder for Andrew's budget trucks is going to get moved from contracts in process into our active contracts, and then also the retention properties are going to get applied. So this can take also a minute based on that DocuSign and Laserfiche listener. So I just got it stalled here a little bit to wait for these documents to come back in and the workflow to move it. But in the meantime, I did want to also show that the signed copies can get also sent out through an email. Obviously, you can send a PDF attachment with all of these signatures there for, to your vendor externally. So I am stalling for time here, but I'll just show you what the signed PDF looks like here. Close that. So there's just, the signed copy here with the DocuSign metadata here. So by that, I mean the DocuSign envelope IDs here, and then the signatures are correctly applied. So there's that. Let's go to Laserfiche here. And let's refresh. And I think we're moving along here. We're still in process, but you'll notice that the DocuSign signed documents have arrived now back in our Laserfiche folder automatically. So let me just show you what's here currently. So we have the form that was submitted. This is the electronic form that was submitted on the front end for the request. So we have a copy of that. So we can see exactly the form as it was filled out here. But better yet, this is all of the metadata. Now this makes it searchable because our correct contract template is auto-assigned. Our department's filled out, our contract title, contract number. So then we can run easy searches for any of this metadata. So this is great. This is one of the big benefits. It auto indexes and names your documents based on your naming convention. So there's that form in there. We also have the Word document there. So the unsigned copy is there as well stored, but we have the signed copy now there as well. So this is now in Laserfiche. This is the signed copy from DocuSign. So in our template, we did also add a field for DocuSign envelope IDs. So that's also stored in our template for the contract here, you can see. And then here you have the signed document. So the signatures are visible in our signed document in Laserfiche. We also have the DocuSign envelope ID on that document. So that's here as well. Then we also have the certificate here, the certificate of completion here. So if I go ahead and open this up for you all, this is what I mentioned earlier on, another security feature of DocuSign. You get this nice certificate of completion. So you know exactly who signed it, who was supposed to sign it. The IP addresses are even tracked for you as well. So this can also be stored in Laserfiche. So if there are any legal issues later on, there's your proof right here. Let's go back into the Laserfiche repository here. I feel like it's been moved now because we're in active contracts. We should be in active contracts now, yeah. So beforehand, we were in contracts in process. So you'll notice this folder's no longer here. Well, it's now an active contract. So it's been moved into our active contracts. Andrew's Budget Trucks. So our folders are created for us. They're named based on our naming conventions. Then I'm putting contracts in by year because maybe we have contracts for this vendor for 2022 or other years, so we can go by year. And then here we have the contract, actually what the contract is for, who it is with, contract number in our folder, all named for us neatly. And here we have those documents that we just showed you. With the records management stuff. So now our signed contract is obviously a record. So if I select that and I go under our records tab here in the Laserfiche client, you'll notice that it's tracking our life cycle now. So those retention properties got applied for us automatically. So our retention schedule, for this one, I'm just doing a 1 month retention, but a contract probably has a 7-year retention. So this would say 7 years here, and then you destroy, at 7 years. So there's your retention schedule. I just applied the 1 month retention schedule, and then here's where we have the lifecycle monitoring section. So 1 month from today, there will be a green button that says you can then destroy this record once retention has been reached. Okay. So the benefit here is we got everything done electronically. We signed everything electronically. No paper was created. We got everything put back into Laserfiche in correct folders. Everything got named. Metadata got assigned properly. The reference retention properties got assigned properly. And now workflow is monitoring retention and then letting us know in 1 month when this contract is ready for disposition. So that's the automated way of doing disposition, like it applies those properties here and then it sends you an email. But you can also do manual searches going into the records management tab here. Then at the top here, you can simply click on eligible for disposition, run a search, and this is going to give you all of your records that are eligible for disposition. You may have a list of, like 10 or whatever. And you could highlight all of them and destroy them all at the same time. I just have one. And here's that little green box I was referring to. Since this record has now reached its disposition, it is ready for destruction. So we can simply click destroy here. We have the option of keeping the metadata. So this is all of the field metadata here. We can keep this metadata in Laserfiche, but we can destroy all of the records, like delete those records out, like just keep the metadata. Or you can delete both the metadata and the record itself here. So that's here under our record tab in Laserfiche. So we can automate it as much as you need to, but you can also then do your records management searches manually as well here. So that concludes my demo here. I hope you enjoyed seeing a potential way of doing a contract process, kind of end to end, everything digital, everything automated, integrated with DocuSign. So I do hope you enjoyed the demo. Again, just an example of what's possible. This can be used for other forms or documents in Laserfiche. It can be used without eForms. You can just leverage the workflow engine, use that to route documents and records, use that to assign the retention properties, use that to notify you of retention periods being reached. So a lot of flexibility, but everybody has contracts. So that's kind of why we picked contracts to show today. CDI resources on screen. Leverage those. YouTube channel is awesome. This is where we have a lot of content. All of our past webinars are there. Sign up for our newsletter, please. And if you're not a CDI client, I would encourage you to become one because we provide free training every other Tuesday with our trainer. So that's awesome. Our clients get free training. So that's the CDI resources. Laserfiche resources are here. You can take Aspire and CPP training courses. We do provide credits for our clients. So we'll provide you credits to take classes and become Laserfiche certified. Look at the Laserfiche answers page. That's awesome. There are some really good ideas there from other Laserfiche users. You can interact with like other Laserfiche users, their developers, and just get some good ideas. So that's the Laserfiche resources. I want to see if there's any other questions here. And looks like there are no other questions. So if you do have any follow-up questions, obviously feel free to reach out to us. I'll put my contact info here on screen. There's my email address. If you have questions, you want to see maybe a bit more of a customized demo based on your specific process, happy to do that for you. So wanted to thank everybody for your time today, and we'll see you in the next webinar. Thank you again.